Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Star Agent Starco Gaming here, back with another Marvel Future Fight video. By the way guys, first I want to wish all of you an happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully you get stuffed like a turkey, guys. And that is pretty much it for the intro. Guys, today what we're gonna talk about the best uniforms actually buy on Black Friday. It's not gonna be a specific ranking. What I'm gonna do in this video, guys, is give you 20 uniform, explain you why those are the best uniform to get for Black Friday sales, where you get a 50% discount on all uniform, guys. And also yes, there's gonna be uniform that I'm not mentioning that are actually worth buying. There's more than 20 uniforms that actually worth buying in the game, but that will make this video way too long to, you know, cover more than 20 uniform, in my personal opinion. But before we jump into that, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to enable the bell next to the subscribe button to get notified when we post a new video. Go live with the live stream. We stream every Friday and Saturday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time. And guys, if you want to play Marvel Future Fight on PC, go in the description below the video and click on the link next to play Marvel Future Fight on PC. So let's get started with those uniform, guys. Okay guys, so the first uniform we're going to talk about is Thanos Endgame. Thanos Endgame is just the ultimate build for Thanos. It turned Thanos into a good character to an amazing character. Thanos is actually a meta for many game modes, meta for Giant Boss Raid, meta for Wall Boss Ultimate, meta for Shadowland, Alliance Battle Extreme, and all form of PvP. Pretty much he is a meta in every single game mode with that uniform. If you don't have that uniform, he is not a meta for anything basically without this uniform. So it really turned him to from a good characters to a meta characters with this uniform. And obviously with the tier 3 advancement, see the uniform effect here, you get 20% extra damage done to superhero, 30% damage less damage received from a superhero. Then you get a 20% decrease all damage received by 20%. You get skill changes, you get every single skills, new skills, new tier 2 passive. It's like a whole new character, and he is pretty amazing. He is pretty amazing. So definitely one of the 20 uniform I gotta recommend for this Black Friday sale, guys. Next uniform here, we got Deadpool. Now Deadpool, I gotta be honest with you guys, I don't see much difference between the X-Force uniform and the Lady Deadpool uniform. Personally, from my testing so far, which I'm not done doing, so I cannot confirm at 100%, I feel like the X-Force uniform is slightly better as the rotation is more fluid and it's easier to actually get shit done with it. But with that said, I do need to do more World Boss Ultimate testing and PvP testing to be able to confirm that. But both uniform are very close to each other, so that you get either uniform, it's a huge upgrade for this characters. Turn him into a meta for pretty much all the game mode except Giant Boss Raid and Alliance Battle Extreme. But for every other game mode, he can definitely be a top 5 characters in all of them. So definitely a very solid uniform to get. And since there's 2 uniform in there, I'm not gonna cover too much of, you know, the skill changes and all that because that will make this video way too long to do that for 20 plus uniform, because some characters there's 2 uniform that are actually good. So definitely very good choice here. Don't forget that the 4th skill on Deadpool actually ignore iframe, so it's actually very damn solid. And if we actually take a quick look here at the uniform effect, you can see this uniform give him 10% extra HP and increase guaranteed dodge by 10%, and this one will give him 10% HP and enhance its some of the skills, like enhance effect of skill, healing factor, and change effect of skill merc with a mouth. So This uniform adds a little bit more survivability, so might be a little bit more better for PvP, but this uniform on the other side has more healing, so it's really hard to say which one is better. Still gonna do, like I said, still gonna do a lot more testing on those two uniforms to find out which one's better. But anyway, guys, if you get either of those uniform, those are both solid uniform for my boy or girl Deadpool here. The next uniform here, we got Namor. Namor literally is meta with or without uniform, but with uniform it gets even stronger for more than one reason, but the biggest reason why this uniform is so important for Namor is because in Alliance Battle Extreme, he's going to be able to cover combat hero without uniform, then with uniform combat villain 2 rounds every 2 weeks, then no restriction 2 rounds every 2 weeks. So that gives him 5 Alliance Battle Extreme round every 2 weeks that he can cover if you put a CTP of Rage on him, which is just amazing. It is amazing, and he is a meta in every single PvE game mode. Second best characters for Shadowland, just behind Doctor Strange. One of the top characters for all the World Boss Ultimate, can actually cover every single one of them. Is actually top 5 characters for Thanos World Boss Ultimate, which is pretty awesome. And in from my personal testing, he is a character that I cleared giant boss raid the fastest with. So he is definitely a super dope meta with that new uniform. And if you look at the stats we get from this uniform, you can see here we get an extra shield when he actually when he hits, he can create a shield of 30% max HP on himself, which lasts 5 seconds with 10-second cooldown. Not that crazy of uniform bonus, but give him a little bit extra survivability, which can be quite useful. And a full skill changes, 5 skill changes, which are pretty similar to without uniform, but makes the rotation a little bit more fluid with that uniform, definitely. So that's the third uniform we're going to talk about here. Next uniform, we have Captain America Endgame. Captain America, it was definitely decent characters with the Infinity War uniform, but with the Endgame uniform, it is just so much stronger. Before we get that Endgame uniform for him, he was good characters at tier 3, but that was it. At tier 2, it was not very good. Now with this endgame uniform, it doesn't matter if you have the characters at tier 2 or tier 3, he's gonna be able to perform really strong. He can cap Alliance Battle Extreme combat hero with a CTP of energy, very useful. He can solo giant boss raid master mode or Galactus with CTP of energy, because I did all my testing with him on CTP of energy. World Boss Ultimate, he is pretty damn solid on the World Boss Ultimate that takes good physical attack or elemental damage like a bunny. Well, by bunny I mean like 50, maybe a little bit higher than 50 on the bunny, which is pretty decent. Against Thanos, he still can do a decent job, 30 plus, which is not bad at all. So very strong PvE characters, and if you actually build them for PvP, he can actually get the job done. He is a top 10 Alliance tournament character. Definitely, when you don't have Jean and Thanos, he's actually one of the best character to put in Alliance tournament. Timeline battle, maybe not so much, because he's never really the best option of timeline battle, but Alliance Conquest, very solid character. So overall, he is a very solid tier 3 characters with that uniform. If you have him at tier 2, you can get good content out of him at tier 2 with this uniform. So definitely a uniform worth getting for Black Friday. If you look at the bonus here, the activation rate, 50% rate when hit applied to self, increase all attack by 15%, all speed by 1%, critical rate by 15%, remove incapacitation, last 6 seconds, and also 100% chance for immunity to all damage for 3 seconds with a cooldown time of 20 seconds. And you have skill changes on every single skill 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not the passive, but the active skills actually get all skill changes, because you get some lightning damage, some new skill animation with the Munchneer. I probably murdered this name, sorry guys, but yes, it's a huge improvement here. Next we have Sharon Rogers Dark Star Armor. Sharon Rogers is a monster in the PvE. Lens Battle Extreme No Restriction, Shadowland, Wall Boss Ultimate, Giant Boss Rate. She is a top dog for all those game mode with that uniform. So definitely one of the best, the most important uniform to get, especially that Sharon Rogers is the first tier 2 characters that every single player gets now from the new recruitment mission or whatever it's called. Everybody gets Sharon Rogers at tier 2, and that should definitely be the first uniform that anybody gets to make their way into Marvel Future Fight. And then veteran player, even though I do not like to play Sharon Rogers and don't really play her because I find her boring, she is still one of the strongest uniform in the game, one of the strongest character in the game with this uniform. It's just plain amazing. That tier 3 ability is amazing, and in addition to that, you can actually make her usable just with a normal custom gear with a proc or a CTP of energy, depending on what you got for her, and she is very OP with all that. So definitely worth getting her uniform. If you look at the uniform bonus here, you get apply to self, decrease all damage received by 10%, and increase chain hit damage by 10% when attacking. So every time you're doing an ability, your chain hit damage is increased, which is crazy good. It is crazy good. And you can see she get 5 skill changes from the base kit, which is pretty solid too. So definitely one of the best, most important uniform to get in the game. Next we have Luna Snow. Luna Snow, if you already have the Andromeda suit, you're fine. If you don't have the Andromeda suit and you have the base kit and you want a uniform for Luna Snow, well, the Lifestyle Series 1 is the best uniform for this girl. It's crazy. It is crazy. It's increase our score, for example, on Lens Battle Extreme from the previous uniform by about 20%. Makes her a total monster with a custom gear, normal custom gear, cold damage plus proc, or a CTP of energy. If you actually put a CDP of Rage on her, she's even crazier. Not that it's required, but still, if you're trying to push Wall Boss Ultimate 99, which is going to be attainable with her with the striker changes, definitely a Rage with her, a Rage on her with that Lifestyle Series 1 uniform is just ridiculously strong. But yes, Luna's still one of the best tier 3 in the game, PvE wise, and with that uniform, it definitely become a total monster. If we look at the uniform bonus here, increase cold damage by 15%, and its effect of skill anchor, which I believe it gives extra cold damage. Oh no, that what it does here. You can see here, guys. I'm not gonna read it too much stuff. And she gets skill changes on skill number 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that 4th skill with that uniform is just plain amazing, guys. Just for that, definitely worth getting this uniform over the Andromeda uniform, definitely. So that is for Luna Snow. Next we have Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel endgame uniform is the only uniform you want on this girl. If you had a previous uniform, the Marvel Captain Marvel, it is trash compared to that uniform. It turned Captain Marvel into a total monster for every single game mode. Well, if you have the proper build to go with that game mode, for PvE, CTP of Rage, for PvP, either regen or destruction, both do a very solid job. And that's just turned this girl into a monster. There's not much to say about that. She's a trash character without that uniform, and then with this uniform, she is almost a godly character, guys. It's ridiculous. It is freaking ridiculous. And yeah, she is pretty amazing. If we look at the uniform bonus here, this uniform giver applied to self, decrease damage received from super villain type characters by 10%, increase damage dealt to super villain type characters by 15%, decrease all damage received by 5%, and change effect of energy absorption. You can see tier 1 passive and the 5th skill are actually getting changed in that with that uniform, it literally turned her into a monster, guys. She is pretty awesome with that uniform, definitely. And even at tier 2, she can actually get the job done in PvP at tier 2, which is actually quite impressive for characters that without uniform is total trash. Next uniform, we have got Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch, some people is going to say the Infinity War uniform is better. Some people is going to say Uncanny Avengers is better. It depends on your build, to be honest. Some build will perform better with Infinity War. Some build will perform better with Uncanny Avengers. So pretty much you can get both. Either uniform is gonna work good. They are both very, very, very solid uniform. Personally, I prefer the Uncanny Avengers with my mind damage build. It's actually work better. Now, if you don't have a mind damage, a mind damage obelisk, either a single mind damage, double mind damage obelisk, the previous uniform might actually perform better. I don't know, I haven't tested it without my double mind damage for struck, but personally I prefer the Uncanny Avengers. But we're going to check the uniform bonus really fast here. Apply to self, decrease physical damage received by 25%, increase mind damage by 20%, enhance effect of skill recovery spell, plus she gets a skill change on 2, 3, 4, and 5. With that uniform, if we look the other uniform here, I gotta equip it to see the stuff here. They won't show me. Oh, that's the uniform. Sorry, guys. I was looking at the wrong one. Okay, so here we go. Decreased physical damage received by 15% compared to 25%, so she get a little bit more survivability with the Uncanny Avengers, and then some mind damage by 20%, and the skill change on 3, 2, 3, and 4, and the 5th is actually pretty strong already. So depending on the build you got, the 5th skill, if you have a boost on mind damage, will do more damage with the Uncanny Avengers. If you don't have a mind damage boost, the 5th skill will do more damage with the Infinity War uniform, pretty much. So both uniform are good. You gotta pick one depending on the builds you're planning to give her, pretty much, or on the looks that you prefer. Me, I prefer the boobylicious look, pretty much. And that is it for Scarlet Witch. Next, we have a Cable uniform. Well, Cable just got his uniform with update V560, guys, and this is a monster uniform, turning upgrading him into the power level of Scarlet Witch, pretty much. This guy is going to be able to cap with the CTP of energy on blast mail day, so no need to tier 3 to waste 1200 CTF on Deadpool, not Deadpool, but Doctor Strange, if you want to cap Alliance Battle Extreme, which is amazing. A tier 2 that can cap Alliance Battle Extreme, we don't see that often, guys. We really don't see that often, so definitely just for that, this uniform is worth it. But for Wall Boss Ultimate, it can clear every single Wall Boss Ultimate except Thanos. Always accept Thanos, guys. 50 plus without too much problems. Even Proxima, it's a joke. Proxima 50 with him, to be honest. So this uniform literally turned him into a monster. The bonus you get on this uniform is activation rate. When skill plasma shower is used, apply to self, increase chain of damage by 30% when attacking. The plasma shower is the 5th skill, by the way, for 5 seconds. And then effect of focus shot, which is increase your pierce from 75% to 80%. Get skill changes on the 1, 2, 3, and 4. So literally make these characters a lot better than it was with the previous uniform or the base kit. If we move to the next one, we have Jean Grey. Like, obviously Jean Grey is a top dog, guys. We're not gonna argue about that. Jean Grey is a god character. With this uniform, without this uniform, she is still decent, a good character actually, but with this uniform, she literally become a god character for both PvE and PvP game mode. The uniform bonus we get here, 15% increase of all attack. Then she get a revamp on that tier 2 passive here. I don't know which skill change actually. Then you get new skills on every single skills, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which turn her into a literal monster, guys. It is crazy. So definitely one of the most important uniform to get, either that you have Jean Grey at tier 2 or tier 2. My Jean Grey is still tier 2, and I can actually get win in Alliance tournament with her at tier 2. That's how strong she is, guys, if you build her properly. So definitely a good characters for every single game mode. PvE, PvP, no restrictions. She can cap in Alliance Battle Extreme. Giant Boss Rage is a total monster. Shadowland, she will destroy it all. Pretty much, it doesn't matter where you're going to use her, she's going to be strong. For PvE, you build her with a Rage or a CTP of Energy. For PvP, you build her with a Regen, Authority, CTP of Greed, or CTP of Destruction. She's going to kill it. Sorry, guys. The only important thing on her, if you're going to play her in PvP, is to have immunity to guard break on her. That is the only thing. Other than that, she is just plain amazing, guys. Next uniform, we have the Colossus uniform. I know it's not the best uniform out there, you know, the strongest uniform. But this uniform, because of this uniform bonus, just make this character so important for PvP game mode that I literally have to recommend this uniform. And also, in Shadowland, this uniform can actually clear Shadowland 80+. So, kind of have to put it there, guys. So if we look at the uniform bonus here, you get apply to self immunity to fracture effect, decrease all damage received by 30%, enhance of skill. Prettier will, I don't know how to say this freaking word, but I'm gonna check it out in a sec, and because that's the important here. And you can see here skill changes on all 5 skills, just turn them into a total monster, guys. But with the Wall Boss Ultimate Striker's changes, he is not a good striker anymore because he will use his 4th skill as a striker, and it will not really do defense down anymore. So that kind of make him worthless as a striker anymore. So it's pretty much just good support characters for PvP and the good Shadowland characters pretty much. So if we look at the skill, which is this one, is amazing because that decrease all damage received from superior role type characters by 50%, apply to all lives, by the way. Decrease the effect of reflect by 60%, reflect effect, physical reflect. Decrease damage received from super villain type characters by 50%. That's just too ridiculous. And in PvP, that is totally a game changer. So this is why this uniform is so important in my eyes. Next uniform, we have the Psylocke uniform. This uniform just takes Psylocke to a whole different level. Makes Psylocke a top 5 tier 2 character in the game. You don't have many tier 2 characters in the game that can be as strong as her in PvE. You have pretty much Scarlet Witch, Cable, Silver Surfer, and then you have Psylocke. I'd say she's number 4 on the list here to the strongest tier 2 character in the game with this uniform. She was already pretty strong with the previous one, but this one is just a whole different level, guys. So if you have Psylocke with the base kit, you need to get that uniform for her. The uniform bonus here, 30% chance to penetrate with mine immunity effect, plus 20% increase of HP. Not that crazy, but still solid. And you have skill changes on the 3rd skill here and on the 4th skill. Pretty much just, you know, here the mine resists like defense down working on characters up to 100%, which is actually pretty damn amazing. And just those little changes turn her into a monster, but it's also because you get a 25% increase in all attack, and well, all attack, that's all we care here, which makes her so much stronger in my opinion. So definitely uniform worth getting PvE wise and now in Conquest if you have a Psylocke with our base kit already. Next uniform, we have Minerva. Minerva is starting to fade down a little bit, but still very solid uniform. If you don't have characters for female combat and let's battle extreme, female supervillain or combat supervillain, she is still a top 2 characters for all those Wall Boss Alliance Battle Extreme. She is amazing in Shadowland. She can do 80+ without too much problems. So PvE wise, she is very strong with this uniform. Now it's only if you care about those game modes, to be honest, that this uniform is worth getting. If you don't care about those game mode, you know, if you want to focus Wall Boss Ultimate, then do not buy this uniform because this is not a good uniform for Wall Boss Ultimate. It's really about Alliance Battle Extreme and Shadowland. Now, if we look at the uniform effect here, apply to self, increase chain of damage by 10% when attacking, and the full revamp on the skills from the base look pretty much. Sorry, guys. when we talk for so long, it's hard on the throat sometimes. So yeah, so this uniform good for Lance Battle Extreme, Shadowland, banned for World Boss Ultimate, or anything else pretty much. So it's really dependent on where you're planning to play this girl, definitely. But very good starter characters too, if I may add. Next we have the Quicksilver uniform. Quicksilver Uncanny Avengers uniform. Just make this guy so much better. It turns Quicksilver in a very strong tier 3 characters to a meta tier 3 characters pretty much. He actually entered the god tier in the tier list definitely with this uniform, so definitely worth getting this uniform, guys. The uniform bonus here, we get a attack speed increased by 10%, increased chain hit damage by 10%, and skill changes on a few skills, but it's literally the skill change on the 5th skill doesn't look like much because it's just a damage that changed pretty much, but the damage increase from that 5th skill is a game changer in every single game mode. Can cap Alliance Battle Extreme very easy. Monster for World Boss Ultimate, Giant Boss Rage, Shadowland, one of the top 3 characters in the PvP, all PvP game mode. So it's definitely one of the best characters. Definitely same level as Thanos and Jean Grey. Maybe a little bit less good than them. But so close to them that it turns him into a monster. If you have him at tier 3, you definitely need to get this uniform. If you have him at tier 2, it's gonna have fun with him. This uniform is also really worth it, definitely. Next we have Spiderman 2099, guys. Spiderman 2099 become a total monster with this uniform. Not a lot of people actually know that, but it turned him a monster for PvP, World Boss Ultimate, Shadowland. He can actually do giant boss raid with that uniform too. It's really a huge improvement from the base kit where it was just, you know, a average CC character that could get some job done, but not much than that. Now with this new uniform, he can actually do so much damage and clear so much good content. And the uniform effect here we get on him is applied to self, increase damage dealt to super villain type characters by 10%, and you get skill changes on the 2nd and 5th skill pretty much. Also, if I may add on this one, guys, a lot of people don't know that, but this guy can actually one-shot a tier 3 Jean Grey if she does not have invincibility proc. Pretty much, it will jump there, do the 5th skill, and it's bye-bye Jean Grey. Run around a little bit, do that 5th skill, and bye-bye Jean Grey if you play him manually in timeline battle. He is ridiculously strong, so definitely a uniform worth investing in it, guys. Next uniform, we have Apocalypse uniform. This uniform, again, added in update V560, is just a total monster uniform, guys. You take this guy at either tier 2 or tier 2 or tier 3, from boring characters to average damage to a very solid characters for every single game mode. It's not going to be the same level as Jean, Thanos, or Quicksilver, but it's going to be a very solid level still. So definitely a guy worth getting. Can cap Lance Battle Extreme Combat Villain, can cap No Restriction, World Boss Ultimate is amazing, Shadowland amazing, Giant Boss Raid no problemo mancho. All former PvP he can actually perform. It's not going to be a meta, but I'll say top 10 characters in PvP, so definitely worth if you have him to get this uniform. By when I mean mid on all those game modes, obviously with the tier 3 advancement, I still gotta do some testing at tier 2, which we're gonna see pretty soon. But yes, definitely a very solid character, guys, with this uniform. If we look at the uniform effect here, applied to self, 35% chance to penetrate with mind immunity effect, 20% ignore defense. That part I love it. For people who don't have enough ignore defense, who cares? We get free ignore defense on him, and its effects of skill, celestial armor, and it actually become a mind damage characters. If you actually put, for example, double mind damage with proc on this guy, he's gonna kill it in PvE. Don't need a CDP or rage on him if you do have that. So it's very solid. More survivability, more damage, just make this guy so much better with this new uniform. Next we have the rogue uniform. You know, guys, I'm not gonna miss this one. This rogue uniform is just so strong. It literally take a boring characters that is below average to so strong. You know, being able to, before the striker change, being able to do Proxima 60 plus at tier 2 was just game changing for her. This uniform really transformed her into a PvE monster. Wall boss ultimate, giant boss rage, Shadowland. She can do it all with this uniform. The uniform bonus we get on this uniform is enhance effects of skill energy utilization, and we get a skill changes on every single skills. Every single skills got a revamp and making her in a much better characters. And also, guys, again, she is boobylicious, so not much to complain here. And if you look at that energy utilization skill here, you can see that's the change. I don't know what was previous one. Without that uniform, we're gonna take a quick look here. Skills. It's the increase all buff effect by 30%. That was increased on the other uniform, which is actually on the uniform, which is actually pretty damn good in my opinion. You can see here. All buff effect by 20%, sorry, not 30%, but 20%. And that's the huge change. If you have like a CTP of Rage on her, the CTP of Rage effect can actually be kept active the whole fight if you're lucky enough. That makes her crazy good, guys. She is amazing with this uniform, definitely. So if you have Rogue and want to play her, get her uniform, definitely. And next we have a Shuri uniform. Shuri uniform might not turn her into a meta as a whole character, but because of the change on the tier 2 passive, this uniform is definitely worth it if you have Shuri. But she can actually get some job done in Shadowland too, guys. Sorry, I was looking for my word, but in Shadowland, she can do Shadowland 60 plus if you actually have a good build on her, which is actually pretty damn strong. But yes, this uniform will make her a little bit stronger. You can see here it's gonna say well, first, enhance of skill, Panther God Protection. That's the skill I'm actually interested about. For the rest, not really interested, but you can see here, activation rate when skill output enhancement in use, applied to self, super armor, output enhancement is the third skill. She got a full skill changes on every single skill with that uniform. If we look at the tier 2 passive, it takes her from, to decrease damage received from super violent type characters by 35%, increase damage dealt to super violent type characters by 45%. If we look at that skill without the uniform here, you're going to see a huge difference. See, it's 25% instead of 35% and 35% instead of 45%. So she just becomes such a better support character if you do have the uniform on her. So definitely a uniform worth getting if you do have Shuri. And next we have White Fox, guys. White Fox is another of those support uniform, which is there to increase your whole roster pretty much. Well, most of your roster with a leadership ability pretty much. So this uniform is definitely strong. But also it's actually gonna make her to be able to be used in Wall Boss Ultimate and Shadowland, which is actually pretty great because she's gonna be able to clear some content in there now with this uniform. But if we look at the uniform effect here, you can see apply to allies with leadership, immunity to fear effect, which is actually pretty great, and 10% increase of all attacks. So basically, you already get, if you play characters with the leadership ability, you already get the 60% increase damage dealt to a super villain type characters. In addition, you get an extra 10% all attack increase, which is just crazy. Just for that, this uniform is totally worth getting, guys. And the last uniform here, I did not mean to go back there, but the last uniform is the Pimtram uniform, just for one specific reason, guys. I'm not gonna go through the skills or anything because we don't care about that. The only thing that matters to this uniform is get this uniform to Mythical so you can get to your CTP selector from the legendary battle, Ant-Man legendary battle. Here we're gonna go in there, challenge legendary battle, just so I can show it to you guys. Here we go, boom. And I think it's from this one or the other one. Maybe it's the other one. There we go. So own Mythical Giant Mint Ultron Pim uniform, and you get a CTP selector, and that is why this uniform is important. And obviously, guys, there's more uniform we could talk about that could actually be worth getting, but this video is already getting very, very, very long, so we're gonna cut it there. Guys, if you have any questions, if you have you want to hear my recommendation on what uniform you should be getting during Black Friday sale, comment in the comment section below the video, and I will answer you guys as soon as I see your messages, pretty much. So guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Make sure to enable the bell next to the subscribe button to get notified when I post a new video, go live for the live stream. And on that, I will see you next time.